Hello, Tide fans. Welcome to Tide Talk. I'm your host, Sean Taylor, here again with my two co-hosts, basically, Jimmy Messick, Maurice Booth. Obviously not having the best
How much longer do we have?
time doing this show. Listen, I told somebody the other day, it's very difficult. We're spoiled Alabama fans, and not as in brats or spoiled rotten, but we're spoiled because I was reading an article talking about this is a disappointment. And that's the truth. We're disappointed because if we're not playing for a national title, it's disappointing. But you go talk to, there's 130 teams in college football, you go ask 129 of them, would they take a 10-2 season? 129 of them are going to say, heck yeah.
Well,
a lot of them would anyway.
I think it's it's the national championship picture that we're out of for the first time, but it's also because it was Auburn, and that I think we lost LSU and we get a little irritated with that, but with Auburn, it's and it goes a two-way street, same way for them. It just adds a little bit more insult to injury, and Lord knows they won't stop bragging about it on Facebook.
So I got my phone out because what I sent y'all earlier. So Alabama will play its 167th game since the start of 2008. It will be just the seventh time that they take the field. There's not a national championship.
That echoes what I just said. I mean, it's we're used to playing for a national championship, and when we don't, yes, I agree, Maurice. We lost to Auburn. You know what? That stinks. Adds a little salt to the wound. And I'm disappointed. Heck, I was hoping to come in here and talk about are we going to get in and all that stuff. And but listen, let's break down the game a little bit. We were talking before the camera started rolling.
Well, hey, what's that? Is that another flag on the field? Okay, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Good one. It's very possible. We're going to talk about all that. But I'm going to go ahead and just say it, and y'all may not like it. You got to give some credit to Auburn for the few things, because they made some plays when it was critical. The one-handed catch by number 18 late in the game, remember you and...
Yeah.
I mean,
I remember.
Patrick Surtain was all over him. Could not have. I don't know that he could have played him much better.
He probably couldn't on that one, but on the touchdown, he could have.
I was just going to go to that. And listen, yes, on that touchdown to the kid Kennelly in the end zone, man, that was a really
little push, maybe.
Was a really good pass.
Yeah, but you use your body.
But he gave up. Surtain gave up on the play.
Yeah,
and that was. It summed up the season.
Yes.
It summed up the season, that play, because I remember me and you talking about that. He did everything right. He backed the guy, put his body on him, backed him to the sideline. I mean, and he thought the guy was out of bounds.
Right.
But instead of finishing the play, instead of playing till the whistle was blown, instead of playing the ball, he saw the ball in the air.
Yeah.
And the guy catches the ball. Good catch. Really good throw. Only person that could have caught it was the tight end.
However, if you put your butt on his hip, he cannot come down and bounce.
Correct.
And it's not
Correct.
interference.
It summarizes the season. It summarizes, especially for us defensively. We did some things good. We did some things really well, but we didn't do it enough, and we didn't do it consistently. And that was kind of this game.
Yeah.
Jimmy?
Is that another flag? I agree. You're right. I mean, again, I don't really know what to say, honestly. As far as the game, way too many mistakes, which is, again, we've been saying it all year. Penalties, not finishing plays. I still don't think we ever established that alpha dog on the defensive side of the ball, which is, to me, is a big key to how that defense or how a defense is going to play.
Right.
And so yeah, again, what do you say?
Maurice, I'm going to go back to what you said really early on in the season.
Discipline.
Lack of focus and discipline.
It shows, and people think that, it's being overly critical or blowing something out of proportion. It's not. I've learned over a lifetime little things like that. I remember the year that we played Georgia, 2012, in the SEC championship. I watched their spring game, Alabama's and Auburn's. I said, Alabama's got the best team. Georgia's got the most talent. Unfortunately, they're not focused. And they didn't win the SEC championship. It's just the little things that you can't put your finger on, but it always comes back to bite you. When your two starting running backs miss team meetings and get suspended before the first game that are supposed to be your captains, Coach Bryant used to kick people off the team for that.
And you're speaking from experience because you played for Bryant.
Right, but I didn't get kicked off.
Well, I just mean when you
Right.
played under
But-
him and knew
Yeah.
of those things.
Telling his age now, huh?
Yeah, there were three players. It was, and Andy Lowe can back this up. It was two fullbacks and another defensive player that were seniors. Well, two were seniors, one was a junior, but they weren't living up to expectations. He kicked them off in midseason. Because they weren't, I'm trying to think of a better term to use than the one that I know of. They weren't putting a full effort in every day.
Yeah.
And it was obvious.
Yeah.
And so you're out.
Yeah.
Of course, times have changed a little bit, but I get it. But again, do you think that's? I mean, has Saban changed that much in the last year or two that now
I
he doesn't get the discipline?
I'll give you an example. Last year, was it against Oklahoma in the semifinals? Raekwon Davis gets a personal foul, comes out to play, and then goes back in. What did you teach him? Nothing. If somebody does that, it gives you, a blatant heat of the moment. You take him out, you get in his ear. If your jaw's back, then you can take it to the locker room, Bubba. But you sit there, and it's like Coach Bryant used to say, even with Joe Namath, he benched Joe Namath for the Orange Bowl. And we ended up losing with a backup quarterback. Well, he lost the game because he wasn't playing, because he broke team rules. Mm-hmm. That's the discipline.
Yeah. I was telling somebody today, I can remember, I don't know, Jimmy, you may can remember this because we watched more games together, but I can remember saying, man, years ago, I wished we had a more prolific offense. Man, I wished, we could throw it around and that sort of thing. But we were so good defensively, it really didn't matter. We're beating teams 13-6.
You talking about under Stallings' era or Saban's era?
Even
No,
listen,
Stallings did that all the time.
Both-
Everybody kept
both.
saying, but we're not winning pretty.
right? Both, and even in the Saban era earlier on.
Right.
Listen, when McElroy and even when AJ McCarron, when we were, granted we started getting a little bit better offensively, but still we won because we were dominant defensively.
So we've had arguably and historically the best two offensive seasons we've had under Saban,
Right.
with nothing to show for it,
And so,
and arguably two of the worst defenses statistically.
But
In
could
the last
be
two
the best
seasons?
quarterback in Alabama history.
yeah. So what is it that Alabama fans? I'm looking in the mirror now, saying this to myself. What is it? I read the thing today that I think it was Gary Danielson that said, if Tua's healthy, there's nobody that can stop him.
If and buts, Kenny and nuts.
If he's healthy, not against LSU healthy, because everybody says that he wasn't healthy. And so to me, again, I'm saying I'm questioning that because I can't remember early on. I can't remember stalling when teams were scoring 40 points on Alabama. It didn't happen.
No.
And
Yeah,
were we
Clemson
winning ugly games? Yes. I remember beating Southern Miss one year, 13-6, I think, and we kicked 2 or 3 field goals, but we won and we won a national championship. I think we beat Miami that year in 1992.
Yeah.
We beat Tennessee on a block kick, 9-6.
Do we want national championships, or do we want style points?
Style points, right? Exactly. And I got into it. I was going to get into it. Quentin Dixon, who was starting nose guard here at Central a few years ago, won state title back in the 90s. And he and I were talking, and he said, I said, defense wins championships. He says, not anymore, Mo. I said, oh, yeah? You want to go back to last January and tell me what happened between Clemson and Alabama? That was a defense that shut down a prolific offense. Mm-hmm. It's like Pat Dye once said at the quarterback club, you get yourself a defense, you can carry that on the road with you wherever you go.
Yeah.
And so...
Well, that's going to be a good conversation in the next segment. We're going to take a break for a second, gather our thoughts. Still a lot to discuss. But on behalf of Bob English and State Farm, we'll take a quick break. Hold your seats, Tide fans. We'll be right back with Tide Talk.
Enjoy the good times a little more with the right plan. As your State Farm agent, I am here to help you protect your dreams and loved ones with life insurance. With over 60 years combined State Farm experience, call me or any of my team to find out which options are best for you. Another way, we're here to help life go right.
All right, welcome back, Tide fans. We were just talking before the break just about defense and winning championships and prolific offense. Going back to the Auburn game, I think we did some things really well earlier in the game. We were able to get some stops from them. There was a point in the game, I believe I read that they were, they punted the ball 7 times.
I think they were 3 of 10 on third down. Now the 3
they ended up 5 of 13.
Right, but the 3 they had converted to that point were like 3rd and 12, 3rd and 11, 3rd and 15, or whatever it was.
But here's what I'm going to say, just kind of echoing what you've said. The lack of focus when you had to have it.
Right.
I don't know. Again, I was a little bit spoiled because of the Jonathan Allens and the Tim Robinsons.
My turn.
And Ashawn Robinson and Reuben Foster and those guys. I mean, look, back when they were playing, when we had to have a stop, we got to stop.
Yeah.
When we had to get that big, crucial 3rd down and get off the field, we did. And we could not do that at any point really this year. We definitely didn't against LSU. And we didn't again on Saturday against Auburn. When we needed to get off the field,
Right.
we couldn't.
5 of 13, though.
That's right, and that's what I'm saying. Those times where we were kind of trading scores back and forth, and then we'd go up 7, and then we'd come out and we'd get them in a 3rd down situation. There's when we needed it, because now we can get the ball back and possibly score and go up 14. But we never could do that.
The thing is, and y'all disagreed with me, with Pete Golding, does that fall on the shoulders of the defense coordinator? Because when you're practicing, and Saban has talked about the stupid penalties, you're jumping off sides, you're doing a selfish penalty like unsportsmanlike conduct on 3rd down.
Yeah.
Do you realize
Roughing the
whenever
passer.
you got them in 3rd down, this is a game change. It's not another play. It's a game-changing moment.
Yeah.
And how focused are you going to be? I mean, it's critical. And
So-
there's too many mistakes.
I mean, again, we talked about this in weeks past. I think it's a combination of Golding and who's on the field. Not necessarily from a talent standpoint, just from an experience standpoint. Yes, I think Golding, I don't know what his schemes are. I don't dig into it that deep. But yes, do I feel like we're out of position for whatever reason, whether it's his calls and we can't figure it out, or he's calling the wrong play, whatever it is. I know that happens sometimes, but I don't blame that.
I'm about to say it.
But I don't blame him completely because you
Why not?
watch 35. How many
He's in
times?
charge of the players.
I know,
dude.
but listen to me. Watch 35 on some of the runs, and he just sees
He
a
gets caught in the
hand.
middle.
He sees a handoff, and he just shoots over here and runs into the back of a player, or hits a hole.
Gets caught up
and
in
the run play goes right.
Gets caught
that
up in
hole,
where
and
he
I'm
just
like-
came from.
I'm like,
we
dude,
talked about
do you
that
not supposed to
too.
read that? I mean, why does he just immediately just vault? Is that Golding's fault that he
I don't-
ran to that hole instead of reading it and making a tackle?
Yeah, it's
Blue
hard for
linebackers
me.
coach.
It's hard for me too, Jimmy. I agree. I think that sometimes players have to make plays. I think that athletes have to be on the field and make plays. But I'm going to tell you this. All throughout the game on Saturday, Maurice and I watched it together. All throughout the game, on third down, you know what we did? We showed blitz and brought it. Now look, I'm an old high school offensive coordinator from years ago. And if you go back and watch, we showed blitz on third down and we brought it. And we did it over and over and over again.
0 sacks.
I mean, I kept saying, Maurice, we're going to blitz again. And they'd pick up a
There's
first
no
down.
need to.
And we're
Right.
going to blitz again. And we did. And we never got to him enough to where we got a sack. Now, we had some hurries and we did some things well sometimes, but is that scheme? Is that planned? I mean, do we never, when it's 3rd and 7 or more, rush 3, drop 8, and make the guy beat you with his arm?
Right.
Drop to the first down marker. You know, you got 3 linebackers or 4. Drop to the first down marker and make him throw in front or hit it. But we never did that. We didn't do it one time. And I mean, again, I'm just a high school coach or former high school coach. We never made Bo Nix beat us on those 3rd and long situations like that. He threw some good balls and they made a couple of really good catches against man coverage, but we never dropped and made him find somebody and throw it into a spot or where it was really tight coverage or whatever. And so I'm a little torn with who do you place the blame on? I think it's both. I do believe that those days when Jonathan Allen said, by God, I'm about to make this play.
Right. Right.
And it didn't matter what the call was, that joker was making a play. Or Tim Robinson off the edge. It says, I'm going to get to the quarterback.
Williams.
Right.
That's what I meant. Williamson, I'm sorry.
And it was Jonathan Allen, when they asked him a question, can a college team do that? His Alabama does.
Yeah, I mean, did you?
Oh, that's that alpha dog we keep
How
talking about we
many?
don't have.
I don't know that Terrell Lewis made a play all day. Do you recall?
No.
Do you recall?
He did make one play where Nix tried to get outside and he tripped him up.
Yeah.
Yes, he did. As a matter of fact, I said finally, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
I said
But
finally.
But he also got suckered in a little bit like everybody else was doing on that one play they were running. But he was quick enough to
Well, he's
still
6'5", so
but he was still quick enough to get out there and get a hand on his ankle or foot.
I remember that. Yeah, but so again, man, I don't know. Here's what I think. I think that we talk all the time about, but that's a 5-star. You know, that's a 5-star. We got 4 and 5 stars.
Yeah.
Well, at what point do our 4 and 5 stars, you know, even the backups that are 4 and 5 stars, at what point do they outplay the other teams 4 and 3 stars? Because those other teams didn't have the same recruiting class we had. We've been in the top 3 in recruiting for the past 6-7 years.
10.
So when
counting?
does that take place?
Right.
And if it's not taking place, then I'm looking at why. Is the coaching having something to do with that? That which leads right into the special teams. We've had, if I'm not mistaken, 2 number 1 kickers in their position over the past several years. Papanastis or whatever his name was.
Yeah.
I mean, he was the #1 kicker.
You come to Alabama as a kicker, we'll zap all the talent out
Yeah.
of your leg.
And
So we
so,
don't know about the one we got now because he's been hurt all year. But
yeah, but even still, early on, he'd already missed 2 field
Every time I
goals.
see that Coca-Cola commercial, our kicker stubbed his toe on the ball.
Yeah.
That's us. It's
I mean,
like-
so it'll be really interesting to see if there's some coaching shakeups. If one thing I noticed that Nick Saban did, and he put it on some of the guys. He said, "Hey, we're supposed to fill a gap, or we're supposed to clog a hole, or we're supposed to." And at some point in time, they got to do that.
how many times do we see that read on the end and our
Oh, yeah,
end would
because
just
we've
our
never
end would
seen an
just crash?
RPO.
Right.
I mean, our end would just. I mean, every single
The
time.
first touchdown Auburn had.
It was like, that's what I was screaming. That your responsibility as a
Is the
quarterback.
quarterback.
Quit freaking looking at the running back.
So-
so is that coaching?
That's-
Yes. Yeah, I'll give you a perfect example. Bill Parcells, one of his first jobs as a grad assistant, I believe it was at Army, he was chewing a player out because he did a play just like that. And the head coach came over and said, "All right, that's enough." He says, "I don't think he gets it. Obviously, he didn't understand." Well, he said, "Well, obviously, you didn't teach him enough." So, yeah, it's the coach's fault. It's not the players. And it's like Spurrier said one time to, I think, Doug Johnson, "No, it's not your fault for throwing the interception. It's my fault for putting you in there."
Good
So-
point. I think that is
But who else you put in there though? Again.
Well, again,
it's-
we're-
I think
somebody
we could
that can
just.
do it.
We're splitting
right.
hairs.
That's
because
right. We're supposed to have the five. That's where I go with the. We're supposed to have those 5 stars.
Are you enamored with the look of the player or how the player plays? That's my thing. I don't, as a former walk-on, I know that scholarship players get and they're the eye candy. They look at, they can run it, but are you doing it?
Right.
Are you playing? It's like you mentioned 35. I think he's a beast. He made some dumb plays. He steps up into the gaps where he's not supposed to be, and that play is dead because now he's gone for 10, 15 yards running right by him. So there is all of it as far as execution falling on coaches. It's your job as a positions coach to make sure that that player that you're saying is going to be the starter is prepared to play. Thank you.
Hey, great
Well,
time for a break. Great time
all
for a
right.
break. Let's come back to that. Because I think we have some opinion. I think we have some differing opinions. But take a quick break on behalf of Bob English and State Farm. Hold your seats, Tide fans. We'll be right back with Tide
Hey,
Talk.
Bob.
Hey, Bob.
Hey, Bob.
So.
Yeah, I don't disagree. You put in that next 5 star. You put the guy in that says, "I'm going to do my job," because that first touchdown is unexcusable. They had just ran 3 times
Don't hurt your back.
doing the same thing right here. Well, but they gave it.
But who was in there? It wasn't Jennings or Lewis. I believe it was a backup in there, if I'm not mistaken.
Pissed they should have left him in then.
That's what I'm saying. I saw different ones on the end, and
This is where I have a problem with Saban. This is that NFL mentality. 24, he's my player. Well, he's messing up, but he's my player. He's in there. Well, he's messing up. Well, he's my player.
Maybe it's because we were so depleted defensively. Maybe that's the case. But I'm just telling you this. Terrell Lewis was as big of a disappointment to me as Raekwon Davis. Now, Raekwon Davis played better Saturday than he's played all year long.
Raekwon played really well, I thought,
Better,
Saturday.
but Terrell Lewis was as big of a disappointment to me than in a long time, because he projected to be the freak and has the physical ability to be it, but didn't do anything.
So, real quick before we go back there, so to your point, again, I get what you're saying about coaching. You got to coach them to play their position. I get
Yes,
it.
yes.
But so he calls a play, all right, on this read option defensive end, you freaking read the quarterback. And he doesn't read the quarterback. is that the coaching's fault or is that the player's fault?
I think it's both. I
You know
think
what I'm
it's
saying?
both.
I mean, you can't
Then
tell me
they
they
didn't
didn't
rep
practice
that
it
player enough
but
and
you
ingrain
can't tell me
it.
we didn't rep it 1,000 times.
Then they didn't pound it. Then the position coach didn't
again-
pound it in his head enough to say, I don't care if they score inside. That's not your responsibility. Your responsibility is do not let the quarterback pull the ball and score.
I can't imagine them not telling the players that, not working on
I
it.
mean,
you
we
know what I'm
don't know.
saying?
Yeah, we don't know.
Obviously, they had to because Joe Burrow did the same thing to us just 3 weeks earlier.
Yeah, same exact play. 3rd down and 2 when they needed to pick it up. They did that. He kept it for 7 or 8
But
yards.
To your point about 5-star and 4-stars, when Spurrier was hired at Florida, Shane Matthews, I think, was 5th on the depth chart. And they said, how did this guy do it? Aren't there better quarterbacks that you have? He goes, well, yeah, but he's the only one that does it right. And that's why he started 3 years.
Well,
That's
obviously,
like-
we didn't have anybody that could do it right.
Well, that's like
this year.
Levi Wallace, though.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
Levi Wallace was a walk-on, but freaking people didn't throw his way.
Right. And now he's in the NFL.
Yep.
So,
All right, let's rock and roll.
Here we go, gentlemen. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right, welcome back, Tide fans, to Tide Talk. Let me take just a quick second to thank Bob English, who's been our sponsor all
Is
year
Bob
long.
here?
Bob is not here. We've asked him a
thought I
couple
saw
times,
him.
but he's such a busy guy.
thought I saw him over there,
But I do want to thank Bob for his sponsorship for the show. He has been for the past 2 years. Fantastic sponsor. So, folks, make sure if you
me
need,
see if I got
have
his
anything
business
for
card.
insurance needs, make sure you reach out to Bob English.
thanks, Bob.
thanks,
Appreciate
Bob.
you.
In life, some things just go together, like a burger and fries, and home and auto insurance from State Farm. So make it a combo. Combining your home and auto insurance could save you time and money. And who doesn't like that? Just call me, Bob English, or any of my experienced hometown team and find out how you could start saving today. It's just another way.
Bob, it would have been nice.
Back
Chicken wings.
to what we were talking about. We were talking about coaches and players and whose fault, and this is here's where we are. I mean, we're trying to assess blame and that sort of thing, and that's we went 10-2. We lost to Auburn. We're breaking some things down. I don't know, to answer the question, whose fault is it? I think it's a combination of both, in my opinion, and it's I think it's a combination of both. I think players have to study film enough and they have to put enough into it. All right. But also I think that coaches have to make sure that their position players know that what their responsibility is. But yeah, in the middle of the game, you got to believe that the coach said, hey man, the quarterback's yours. When they run the read option, he is yours. I don't care if they give it up the middle. That's not your job. You can chase after. You're containing the quarterback. I got to believe that. But I don't know. I'm not in the coaches' meetings.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see if Golden gets a pass this year.
Based on the inexperience
Based on the
that he
inexperience
had.
he had to work with.
What did Einstein say about the definition of
Insanity.
Yeah.
Yeah, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result.
So, we've talked on this show too about the coaching turnover, and that's got to stop at some point.
I don't care.
I know, I get it. Trust me. So if he ain't the guy, you're right. I want him gone too. So that's why I'm asking and just wondering, is he going to get a pass because it was his first year as a DC? He was coaching a bunch of freshmen. Does he come back next year? Obviously, if there's somebody better, I want him on the sideline. I don't want Golding there. So again, that's just
we're
what I'm
sitting
going
there
to be
talking
curious
about
to
that.
see.
Does Sarkisian go back to the NFL? Does he get? There's some good jobs out there that are open, which I hear Lane Kiffin's going to Arkansas. But does Sarkisian get another
Opportunity,
go-
yeah.
Possibly. So yeah, we may have that same.
Yeah, I mean,
carousel
listen, we're
turnover.
facing that. I mean, and there's
Does
a lot
anybody
of.
want Jeff Banks, please? There, go ahead.
Go ahead and put it out there.
I'm just going to throw it out.
There are a lot of conversations about this could be it for Alabama with the coaching turnover, losing everyone that we're losing, and we're losing a bunch of guys to the draft, to the NFL draft, guys that aren't seniors. Is that, who's in the pipeline? look, I'll tell you this. I'm really excited about some of the younger guys that played on the defensive front. I'm really excited about Barrymore.
5'8", he's a player.
You know, DJ Dale, once he's healthy again and had a little bit of experience this
LaBryan
year.
Ray will be a
LaBryan
beast.
Ray's
LaBryan,
going to be
yeah.
back. I mean, so I'm excited about that part. You know, we're going to be losing some guys on the back end. So you know, who do we have coming? It's going to be interesting to see all of the things that we're talking about shaking out. Now, got a guy coming in from California, the quarterback, the young kid that's supposed to be really, really, really good dual threat.
All 5'11" of us.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see that quarterback competition in over the break. But right now it's Mac Jones' offense. Mac Jones has got a chance to go out in a bowl game.
Here's another thing. What if, not that I'm just throwing it out there, the kid from Opelika that was starting quarterback at South Carolina,
Bentley.
He's in the transfer portal today. He could be coming home to Auburn. He could may stop by in Tuscaloosa. I mean, it's just another option like Jake Coker. You never know.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, I mean, as an Alabama fan, we have to think we're going to be right back in the hunt next year. I mean, we will continue. We will continue to be in the
We
hunt
can think
every
that,
single
but
year.
I'm tired. I don't want the players to think that because I think that's why we are where
That's
we are.
right.
Maybe
I
you're
agree with
right.
that. I think that this is some humbling. You know, look, go back to 2010. I think it was 2000.
Last January wasn't humbling enough for us?
No. I agree with you. I agree with you. But coming back, you know, Tua and everybody's, you know, there was still some internal belief that,
Right.
you know, we're still legit.
Yeah.
You know, and offensively we were. I think offensively
I
we
agree with that,
were
yeah.
legit.
Probably
But
the most powerful.
I'm hoping that there's a fire lit by us being exploited for the past 3 big games, Clemson, LSU, Auburn, on defense. I'm hoping that there's some motivation.
My other concern is with the 5 stars and 4 stars is your focus
Getting to the
years,
league.
getting to the league, or is it to win? And I think we're getting into the territory of
Getting into the league.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, listen. I'm glad you brought that up.
You're welcome.
Go back to last year and the front 4 for Clemson.
Yeah.
They were projected first-round draft picks the previous year, but they all come back. They wanted to win a national championship. They didn't like the taste that was left in their mouth after the Alabama game. They came back to play.
I'm going to text that to 2.
Hey, we don't see any of that. Listen, let's be real. Tell me the last person that stayed and played for us. Oh, I'll tell you who it was. I'm going to see if y'all can get it.
I'm sorry. It was Damian Harris.
Damian Harris come back on that side of the ball.
I was thinking
O.J. Howard came
Barrett
back.
Jones.
Yeah.
Barrett Jones was a
I mean,
projected number 1.
I mean, we've had them, but
Yeah.
you're right.
But I mean, their entire front 4 come back.
Right.
They're like, hey, and so to your point, they're about team and winning.
Yes.
They're about
It'd be
team and
nice.
winning.
I tell you one thing, and I know it's not going to happen. I think if the money's there, you take it. But it would be very sweet if Tua could talk to the receivers
And they're coming back.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
2010, we went 10-3 with arguably the most talent we ever had.
And then we go
out and beat the brakes off of Michigan State because we were just really ticked off.
Well,
and
we're
then
also-
when we showed up the next year and won a couple of national championships,
we
whatever.
were also injured and we
So-
got healthy.
So it's going to be curious. I'm going to be curious to see how we respond to this
this,
bowl game.
yeah.
Is this going to be another Utah Sugar
Where-
Bowl
in 2008,
where we
when-
just don't show up? We don't care about being
And
there.
get drugged.
Are we going to be ticked off and we're going to show up? We're going to beat the brakes off of somebody and carry that momentum into next year.
I don't think so.
So I don't know. I mean,
I really think we're going to be flat.
You think we're going to be flat?
I think there's.
yeah, I mean, I don't know either. I honestly hadn't really thought that far in advance. but
Listen, what I
that's why I'm
want
gonna
to
be curious to
say
see.
is what I want to see happen is we're going to be ticked off and we're going to come out and just skull drug whoever we play in the bowl.
Well,
That's what I want to say.
We're not going to be up emotionally because right now they're projecting us in the Orange Bowl against Virginia.
Or the Cotton Bowl against Memphis.
Yeah, I don't see us getting up.
So that's all one against Boise State. I mean, yeah. I mean, we're not. I mean, unless it's going to be a Oklahoma or a Baylor that maybe loses
Right.
that Big 12 champ or somebody that's got, I don't know.
But to Well, to my point, I want to say that we are going to be mad and we're going to want to show everybody, you know, I just don't think this team is built that way.
It's kind of like taking your best friend's date home. You can't do anything.
I don't think
But you
this
look good.
team has that internal motor.
No.
You know, I could be wrong. I hope they prove me, but I just don't see it. Lack of focus. We've said it all year long. You know, not doing the little things right. Lack of discipline. I just don't see us, now that we've lost to Auburn, we're not in the playoffs for the first time ever since I just don't see us saying, you know what, we're ticked off.
Right.
You know, Tua's out. I guess there'll be some announcements by the time we play the bowl of people leaving. Is that
So I don't know if, do you have to declare that early? I think
I
it's
thought
after.
Yeah,
What's going to be
exactly.
interesting though is not necessarily declaring for the draft. Just hey, I'm not going to play in this bowl game because I'm going
Right.
to get ready for the
That's
draft.
the other thing. Exactly.
That's what I'm waiting to see.
So all of those things, I mean, you know, and man, it aggravates me because I'd like to have another 2010, you know, where we beat Michigan State to absolute sleep, and people say, yeah, Alabama is not out of it. You know, they're going to be
right.
back next year.
Right.
And I like the SEC to do well in bowl games because I still think the SEC has the best conference. But then we get there, we're unmotivated. We've got guys that probably may not play. You know, coaching turnover, all of these distractions.
Agents now come into the
Yeah.
mix. Coaches want to go somewhere else. Huge distractions. Whereas the other teams, the Virginias and the Memphis,
Yeah.
here's our chance to make a name for
Yeah,
ourselves.
that's right. So tons of motivation from their side. Hey, we're playing against Alabama. You know, this is the Alabama.
Right.
You know, and
So
that,
it will
that's
be interesting. That's why I can't wait
Yeah.
to see how we come out. And what we
Yeah,
look.
I'm hoping that. Look, Nick Saban, he is probably the best motivator, recruiting motivator coach in the game.
Well, maybe, but I think
We're starting to question that as of late.
you always can't control the mindset of players. But I tell you what would help is if we came out in preseason ranked number 10 or 12.
Yeah,
There's your wake-up call.
yeah. Hadn't happened in 10 years, 11 years.
And that ought to tell them something. It's like, you ain't all
Well,
that.
Right.
didn't he say at the start of the season, or wasn't there a quote? He said something along the lines of, "Do you want to be that player that continues the dynasty, or be the player that ends on
Yeah,
the
right.
Yeah.
tail end of the dynasty?"
Yeah. So again, man, regardless, a good year, a disappointing year from an Alabama standpoint, from a standards perspective. But 10-2, going to play in a New Year's Day 6 bowl.
Right.
You know, I guess if you're going to lose, it's 10-2 is a pretty good year, a pretty good losing year.
Yeah, but I just don't want it to be Auburn.
That's right. I get it. But
I'd rather lose to Southern Miss or
so.
not Georgia.
We will, that'll wrap it up for this year. Now, we will do one more show whenever we determine what bowl. We'll do a show leading up to the bowl game. You probably won't be here, I would imagine. You said you're leaving in January, right?
I'm leaving in January.
So we'll figure out when that happens. But hopefully we'll be here and you can do the show with us. And
Well, if not, it's been a pleasure. It's been fun, sir.
It's been great.
Thank you.
Great. Been a good year. But Tide fans, a little disappointing loss. But hey, as we always like to say, there's always next year. So we will be here again prior to the bowl. We'll let you know when that takes place. We'll give you a little blurb of when that will happen. It'll probably be New Year's Day. But Tide fans, hold your seats. We'll be back at 7 and 2:07 with the Alabama bowl game. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
So,